right, in this lesson, we're going to look at how we solve an inequality. Pretty much, you solve it the same way as you do an equation when you have an equal sign. There's just a rule to remember kind of towards the end of it. So starting off, let's talk about what your inequality sign mean. So this first symbol is a greater than sign. Notice it's open to the left. So like I would say x is greater than 3. And then what that would mean on a number line, if I had to graph my solution set, is on the number line I would find where 3 is, and I would use an open circle to mark that spot, and then I would draw an arrow to the right because I'm pointing towards the bigger numbers. The open circle means I'm not equal to that spot, and then the line means I'm equal to everything after it. Next up, we've got less than, so like x is less than 3. So on a number line, you would find 3. You would use an open circle, and then you would draw an arrow to the left because that's when numbers get smaller. Okay. Greater than or equal to. So this is like x is greater than or equal to 4. So on the number line, we would find 4. This time we would use a solid, a filled in or closed dot. That means equal to, where we can be equal to 4. And then we are greater, so we would draw an arrow to the right. And then lastly, we got less than or equal to, like x is less than or equal to -1. So on a number line, we would find -1. I would still use a filled closed circle because I can be equal to. And then I would draw to the left because I am less than. All right, so we can use number lines to represent solution sets because technically when you solve an inequality, you have more than just one answer. Your answer is not equal to just one number. There are going to be several numbers that make the inequality true. All right, it's not like an equation with an equal sign. Now the main difference other than that of solving an equation and solving an inequality is if you multiply or divide both sides by a negative number, all right? So the same negative thing happens on each side. You have to flip the inequality symbol. So let's talk about what that looks like. So let's say I was working through my problem and I had gotten to the step where I had -2x is greater than 6. My next step would be to divide both sides by -2 to get x by itself because I want to cancel out those -2's. And that would leave me with just an x on the left. And then we know that 6 divided by -2 is -3. But now what happens is that inequality sign needs to flip over because we divided by the opposite of 2. So dividing by an opposite makes that inequality sign flip. And so it would be x is less than -3. All right, so we've got to remember that when we are solving inequalities. All right, we're mainly just going to do 2 examples because it is the same steps as an equation. We've just got to remember to flip if we divide by a negative, if our x was negative when we divided. All right, so on example 1, first we distribute. So I need to distribute a -1 here on the left-hand side of my inequality. So that's going to give me -7x minus 1x minus 4 from multiplying by -1 less than or equal to -20 plus 8x. All right, make sure you're writing your inequality sign as you go. That way we can keep track of it. All right, now the next thing is to combine like terms on each side. So looking over at the left, I see that I have -7x minus 1x. So that together makes -8x. Okay, we'll change colors. So -8x minus 4 less than or equal to. There's nothing to combine on the right-hand side. Those are not like terms, so I'm just going to bring them down. Now it's time to move things from one side to the other. Remember that if you're going to bring something across the line, you have to change the sign of it, right? We've got to do the opposite. So I want my x's over on the left, just like I always do. So I need to subtract the 8x that's on the right so that I can cancel it out. Okay? And so that means I got to do the same thing over on the left side. I got to write -8x so that I match. And then -8x and -8x make -16x. And then I bring down my -4 and I'm less than or equal to negative 20. So now that my x's are on one side, I need my numbers on the opposite, so I need to get rid of this minus 4. I can cancel it out by adding 4. That makes 0. So I've got to add 4 on the other side of the line as well. So I'm bringing down my negative 16x less than or equal to negative 20 plus 4 is negative 16. And then my very final step is to divide both sides by negative 16. Now, since I am dividing by a negative, that flips my inequality sign. So I'll have x, and I'm going to change it to greater than or equal to 1. Okay, so this is my solution set. If they asked me to graph it, I would find 1 on the number line. Since I am equal to, I would use a filled-in circle, and then I would draw an arrow to the right because I am greater. I'm getting to the bigger numbers. All right, example 2. So looking on the right-hand side, I need to distribute this negative 7. So nothing's happening on the left. I'm bringing that down. I've got a less than sign. Negative 7 times x is negative 7x. Negative 7 times positive 7 is negative 49. All right, so now bringing my x's together. Remember, this is the same thing as a negative 1x. I'm going to cancel out this the negative 7 by using a positive so that it makes 0. So that means I got to add 7x on the left. So bringing things down, I still got negative 7. Negative 1x plus 7x is positive 6x less than. That's gone, and I bring down negative 49. All right, next I need to get rid of my regular number that's on the left. So I add 7 so that I can cancel that out. I need the opposite. So it means I have to add 7 on the right-hand side. So I bring down 6x less than negative 42. All right, and then my final step is to divide by 6. Now my x was not a negative, so I am not going to flip. So x is less than negative 7. It doesn't matter that I was less than a negative number. That's not what causes the flip. The flip is when your x was negative and then you had to divide, okay? So if I was going to graph this on the number line, I would find negative 7. I'm using an open circle because I am not equal to, it doesn't have the equal to bar. And then I'm drawing an arrow to the left to where the smaller numbers are when I am less.